Hey guys, welcome back to Follow Me 11B. Discussions on current events, macroeconomics, and freedom and liberty from a veteran's perspective. Today I wanted to discuss EVs, electric vehicles, and pose the question, are politicians really this dumb? But before I get into all that, I wanted to give a big shout out to a couple of content creators that have been a big inspiration and help, and they've been just cheering me on and helping me out when I had questions, getting me this far along the ride to 75. Next video is our 75th video, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work though to get here too, and these guys are always there to answer questions and just be there to help me out when I needed something. And I appreciate it. Luke over at MarketMania, formerly MarketMania Canada, has a great channel on YouTube, also has an Instagram page and Twitter. If you like real estate, if you like macroeconomics, you'll like his stuff for sure. Check him out. Also, Jared at Revert to Means on YouTube. He's also got a Instagram page by the same name and Spotify podcast. So if you like the topics of real estate, macroeconomics, prepping, just regular common sense type stuff, you'd like Jared's information and his content as well. So highly recommend both those channels, and those guys do great work. So thanks again, guys. And now for the topic of the day. Are politicians really this dumb when it comes to EVs? Why do I ask that? Well, I saw it all over the news, so then I had to check it out online, of course, and there is many articles, but I chose this one by CNBC, Catherine Clifford, from September 29th, 2022, entitled, New York expedites efforts to ban the sale of new gas cars by 2035. And here it goes like this. New York Governor Kathy Hochul on Thursday announced she is ordering state regulators to make changes necessary to require all new passenger cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs sold in the state to be zero emissions by 2035. The move comes about a month after California voted to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered vehicles. The regulation would require 35% of sales in model year 2026 to be zero-emission vehicles, 68% of sales by 2030, and 100% of sales by 2035. So, I mean, just those numbers alone, they make me... All right, this is my initial thought on that. How are you going to... I mean, when Henry Ford invented the Model T, people bought the Model T because they saw it as an improvement from the horse and buggy, and they wanted one, and it was affordable. So over time, people started buying more and more. They didn't have government subsidies and tax credits and so forth. People just chose to buy more and more and more, and so on and so forth, until the horse and buggy was a thing of the past. That's how that happened, because people liked it, because it worked. In my opinion, this is kind of weird how, and a little bit dystopian and creepy, how this governor it's not even an elected governor, is like, you know what, we're just going to ban this starting in 2035. And even though, if you've got nothing but EVs to sell, I can understand how 100% of your EV sales are going to be EVs, or your vehicle sales will be EVs by 2035. But if you've got part of your inventory is EVs and part of it is internal combustion engines, how are you going to require 35% of the sales to be zero emission vehicles? How are you going by 2026? How are you going to require 68% of sales by 2030 to be zero emission vehicles? Are you going to force people? Hey, sorry, we cannot sell you anything. This is probably what they will do. I'm sorry, we've already reached our quota. We've sold, what would that be, 32% of our internal combustion cars. All we can sell the rest of the year are EVs. Well, what about those? They're right there. Sorry, we can't sell you those. It's probably what's going to happen. But, moving on. Here's another one. I thought this was kind of funny. Tesla recalls over 1 million cars because the windows can crush your fingers. By Metro Tech Reporter. That's a funny name. Friday, 23rd of September, 2022, from Metro News. And this is just kind of silly. The U.S. Well, let's see. The automatic window reversal system may not react correctly after detecting an obstruction, Tesla said in documents posted on Thursday by U.S. safety regulators. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it is a violation of federal safety standards for power windows. Online software update will fix the problem. The recall covers certain 2017 to 2022 Model 3 sedans and some 2020 and 2021 Model Y SUVs. Also included are some Model S sedans and Model X SUVs from 2021 and 2022. Tesla discovered the problem during a production testing in August. Owners will be notified by a letter starting on the 15th of November. The company said in its documents that vehicles in production got the update starting on the 13th of September. And so far, Tesla is not aware of any injuries due to the da-da-da. So anyway, that's just another problem that, just one of the myriad of things that can go wrong when things are kind of new technologies. Might not be the best idea for the government to jump in and just force everybody to use something that's kind of still in development. But back to the articles. Next one is from foxnews.com as published on Yahoo. And it's entitled, Electric Vehicles Are Exploding from Water Damage After Hurricane Ian, Top Florida Official Warns, by Thomas Catanese, Thursday, October 6th, 2022. A top Florida official warned Thursday that firefighters have battled a number of EV batteries that have been waterlogged in the wake of the hurricane are at risk of corrosion, which could lead to unexpected fires, according to Jimmy Patronis, the state's top financial officer and fire marshal. It's a weird combination, top financial officer and fire marshal. But, moving on. There's a ton of EVs disabled from Ian. As those batteries corrode, fires start, Patronis tweeted Thursday. That's a new challenge that our firefighters haven't faced before, at least on this kind of scale. It takes special training and understanding of EVs to ensure these fires are put out quickly and safely, he continued in a follow-up tweet. Thanks to the North Collier Fire Rescue for their hard work. Patronis published a video of firefighters in Naples, Florida, battling a fire started on a Tesla EV battery. The bystander is overheard in the video saying the crew had used hundreds of gallons of water attempting to put the fire out. Last week, made landfall, Category 4. Hurricane caused more than 100 deaths and over 1 million residents lost power. Well, that might pose a problem charging your EV. But, moving on. Biden administration continues to push the green transition involving zero-emission cars. Between April and June, EVs accounted for 5.26% of new car purchases in the U.S., up slightly from the first 3 months of 2022, according to Kelley Blue Book. Shortly after taking office, President Biden announced a goal of ensuring that 50% of new car sales would be EVs by 2030. The Biden administration also took a number of steps to incentivize Americans to shift to EVs, including a tax credit that was in the Inflation Reduction Act, worth up to $7,500 per EV purchase. However, critics have blasted the administration for giving a false impression about EVs, noting that they are expensive and often unreliable. Well, they're definitely expensive, and I have heard a number of reports that question their reliability. But moving on, one more article I just wanted to hit up, and this is from, I don't know if this is a website or a magazine, but it's you look it up on Google, and it's under National Defense by John Harper, and this is a little older, but it pertains. February 4th, 2022. U.S. military wants its vehicles to go electric with Detroit's help. To combat climate change, boost U.S. industry, and achieve operational advantages, the Defense Department has ambitious plans to transform its fleet of ground vehicles through the introduction of electric and hybrid electric drive technologies. Addressing what it calls the climate crisis is a top policy priority of the Biden administration. The Pentagon is developing a sustainability plan, part of which will be focused on developing a zero-emissions, non-tactical fleet. Currently, the Department of Defense has about 170,000 non-tactical vehicles, the cars and trucks we use on our bases, Hicks noted. That's the largest fleet in the federal government, next to the U.S. Postal Service. Okay, so they want to electrify the vehicles that people are shuttling troops back and forth on during training exercises and so forth on post. Okay, well, maybe that's not a terrible idea. Let's move on, though. Dig a little deeper. The bipartisan infrastructure deal that Congress passed last year includes large investments in electric vehicles, batteries, and the creation of a national network of charging stations, Hicks noted. Jumping down a few paragraphs, here's where it gets interesting. The Pentagon also wants to electrify its tactical vehicles, not just to combat climate change, but to achieve operational benefits as well, Hicks noted. What are these operational benefits, you might ask? Well, let's jump down another few paragraphs. Hybrid electrical architectures for tactical systems are expected to yield major operational benefits, officials and analysts say. HED could reduce fuel consumption by as much as 35%, Gamble noted. Other advantages include extended range and persistence, increased onboard power for capabilities such as directed energy weapons, jammers, and electrified armor, reduced maintenance costs. Yeah, I would have to disagree on that one. But moving on. Silent watch and silent mobility and reduced thermal and acoustic signature. Okay, well, I'm with you on silent watch and silent mobility. I can see how that could be handy. However, when you're moving Humvee style vehicles, particularly 4, 5, 10 of them throughout an environment, you're still going to make noise. Doesn't matter how silent you are. Would come in handy, but I don't know if it's critical for a mission. Reduced thermal and acoustic signature. Let me just tell you, I've been on plenty of missions in noisy Humvees, and having a silent Humvee has never been a... You don't try to sneak up on somebody in a Humvee or in a tank or in a Bradley. That's what you do on foot. But I digress. Let's get to my thoughts on the EVs in general. So burning gas, or banning gas cars, I should say, in New York, California, etc. Who knows? It might go nationwide. Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? And if so, why? Well, in my opinion, it's a bad idea. Particularly, like, for example, in California. I mean, in California, the grid currently can't even support their current electrical demand. How are they going to support the demand if everybody in California, that's their goal, has an EV? Not really feasible, at least right now. How about like the hurricane? I mean, right now we just had a hurricane. How are you going to charge it up? You don't have electricity. You can't even get out of the place now if you haven't already left. And if you happen to leave your EV behind when you ran for the hills, well, guess what? Now it's turned into a bomb or a flaming pile of plastic that the fire department is trying to deal with. Lots of new technical glitches. Maybe they can solve these, but again, it's just another example of, hey, this is a young technology. Let's let it sort itself out before, the government puts all of its full faith and credit behind this particular technology and chooses winners and losers. I mean, you could crush your fingers. We got cars exploding like bombs. Not to mention it's super expensive. Now, right before I made this video, I did a quick search, and your Tesla, your low-end Tesla is $46,990 for a 2022. The high end is starting at $120,990. An EV Hummer, $108,700 starting. Or a Ford F-150 2022, $40,715. Still a little pricey, but still about $7,000 less than your lowest end EV. How about a 2022 Camry, brand new, $25,295. So that's about a $21,000 difference. So obviously huge price differences, even with that silly tax credit. Military into things. Are you kidding me? Terrible idea, in my opinion. I mean, maybe on the base, you might be able to incorporate those in some way, shape, or form, but obviously on the battlefield, you're not going to have a grid to power up your vehicles unless you're plugging them into generators, in which case you're also burning fossil fuels to power up your EVs, which seems ridiculous and redundant. Maybe hybrid versions, which if you read the rest of the article, which I did, that's kind of what they start talking about later on. They want to start with tactical vehicles being hybrids, but eventually get to full EV. If they get to full EV, what about EMPs? EMPs could be implemented against our military electrical fleet to totally and completely disable all of our movements. Maybe not a great idea. I mean, Teslas do not have any protection against EVs right now. Maybe at some point you could have a Faraday cage built around the electrical components in a military Tesla or a military EV. But right now, as it stands, in my opinion, bad idea. But I could be wrong. I would love to hear what you guys think about politicians. Are they really that dumb? In my opinion, yes. Some of them might be following the money, but in my opinion, a lot of them are just doing what they think is going to save the planet and also save their next election. So, again, I could be wrong. Please post your comments below about what you think, if politicians are really this dumb, or if they're really true believers and they think that they are actually saving the planet, or maybe they're just following the money. Maybe all three. But don't forget, in the meantime, follow us here on YouTube. And don't forget, we also are Follow Me 11B on Facebook, on Gettr, on Twitter, and we are the real Follow Me 11B on YouTube, or excuse me, at Rumble and Instagram. And next video, number 75, we will see you there. Have a great day, and we will see you on video 75.